Hello, Kansas City. Welcome to another fantastic day. We are experiencing yet more of these fun episodes of this show we started called Life After. We've even lately been featured on Fox News just the other day, and expanding all the more. So shout out to Katie Zeke, who's also doing these shows and often featured. And welcome to Aaron Munoz, who I had the pleasure to know more so in the student capacity, because I'm wearing the hat that reflects where we both went to school. So, Aaron, thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. Thanks for having me.
All right. So, the first thing we roll back to, my friend, is that year. And I think it's been a few, judging by the beard and whatnot, that we didn't exactly graduate just the other day. So, what year did you graduate from Lincoln Prep? And then, what do you remember to this day that you kind of took from that place?
So I'm repping the class of '97. Yeah, definitely. I'm an old head with the gray and the beard and the, you know. What do I remember from being in that time? I know that I didn't necessarily know what it meant to be an actor, but I know that's what I wanted to be. I know that I had a drive to perform, and I got some great opportunities at Lincoln, even though it wasn't a performance-oriented school. We had a wonderful teacher, Miss James Vossman, and she really liked, like gave like that passion a lot of like sunshine and water and like really kind of nurtured it, and there wasn't a lot of skills. I'd never done a full-length play before I went to college, but there was just something inside of me that knew that's what I had to follow. And so when I looked at schools, for me, coming from Kansas City, like New York was too far away. And I was like, but Chicago was there. And I was really interested in improvisational comedy, sketch comedy. And Chicago's like the Mecca. It's got Second City, Improv Olympic. There's a theater called Annoyance Theater. And this was, over 20 years ago. Those things still hold true, but definitely at that time, it was the Mecca. So I was like, I want to go to school in Chicago. And I looked at all of the schools in Chicago. I looked at places, some really top-notch conservatory acting programs. And I ended up going to Columbia College in Chicago, which was a great choice. When I went into the school, I my dad and I, shout out to Coach Munoz, who still coaches tennis at Lincoln.
This was actually my coach. I don't think you can point that out, but yeah, Munoz was for a while there my coach, right? And so world is small. I still love tennis, and shout out to all the awesome people who, affected my love for tennis when I was young, especially your dad.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, forever coach Munoz.
Forever.
But we went and visited schools in Chicago, and talking to students and talking to places, and there were a lot of places that were like, well, you can't really get on stage or be in a play until your junior year when we think you're ready, that kind of thing. And Columbia was like, come on in. It was an arts and media school. And, very, very unlike my experience at Lincoln, which was a really wonderful experience. But again, Lincoln was not like an arts centered school. Right. It was, preparing me for college. I felt very prepared for college. But what I needed to learn was how to be an artist. And I think that's what I was seeking. That's what I was looking for. And that's kind of the trajectory I took from high school into college.
Very cool. So that's pretty effectively the second question, and really an awesome way to kind of smoothly go there. The curiosity that always burns in me, and I think other young people, while we're listening to people tell their story, is how we felt the moment it was kind of over in high school, and then how we felt the moment something new began. So sounds like, to kind of put that in a synopsis, that you felt pretty excited about being able to just kind of jump in the school that you had selected. And so that's really neat. I also have the chance that I went to Lincoln, but I worked a long time at Paseo, one of our performing arts based programs. And students there definitely had, 3 theaters and all these exposures to different things. And a lot of those students, again, stayed with it and found that early step really had started them off to go into another program or down the road to really be more prepared than they even realized. So it's a really neat way to see both. I agree. I went to Lincoln and I felt extremely academically prepared, kind of navigated ELA, the English language arts, like it was art more. And again, I was kind of seeking that, the poetry side and the creative side, and
Sure.
because I don't know if it was represented quite as much at that time in LCPA. So that's interesting to point out. All right. So what do you think came of your moves? So you went straight into Columbia. You felt like that was a good move. What came from there, and then what kind of happened after that?
So I've always been a, you know, jump in, do a cannonball in the water, like type of person. Uh, so when I got to Columbia, I had like auditioned and gotten to Second City Conservatory. I started taking classes at Improv Olympic. I started, learning about plays and playwrights and what it means to be an actor. And I was hungry.
Hmm.
I was hungry. And I remember, and this probably is a link to the intensity of focus on education and classes that Lincoln gave me. But I remember like just going to Barnes and Noble in Chicago, and I would walk up from my dorm up Michigan Avenue, go to this big Barnes and Noble, and just camp on the theater section. And I would just sit there and read plays and read books on acting. And I was a poor college student, and and it was free, and they had comfy chairs, and it was warm. And I was just so hungry to soak up as much as I could about what it means to be an actor. And along that way, I found that improv and comedy was great, but it felt limiting. That I wanted to be an artist. I wanted to be able to play a lot of different things. I wanted to have a lot of different tools in my toolkit. I wanted to be able to like make someone laugh and then flip and do Shakespeare. Like that takes a lot of work. And I didn't know like from high school what kind of work that was, or like what I wanted to do. But as soon as I got a taste of it, I just wanted more. So Columbia also had the good benefit of them allowing you to work outside if you could get work as an actor outside, like go for it.
Mm-hmm.
And not a lot of places are like that. There's some places that are, very we want you to stay here and learn what you learn here and then take it out there. But Columbia was like, go for it. So I got lucky. There's a lot of luck in life. Yeah. I booked a Coke commercial when I was like, 18, and then just started like cobbling some stuff together. I was able to work at some professional theaters my junior year. In between junior and senior year, I worked at a Shakespeare festival, and then I decided I wanted to go to grad school. And the reason I wanted to go to grad school is because I got a lot of contemporary training, but I didn't have a lot of like heightened language, classical Shakespeare training, and that's what I wanted. And again, it was seeking that, like, how can I like be the best I can be? How can I get the most out of what I'm bringing? And I auditioned for grad schools, actually crashed auditions. Again, I jumped feet first, and and got into grad school. So I went to grad school at Alabama Shakespeare Festival in Montgomery, Alabama, and they paid for me to go to school. And I joined the Actors Union. I met my wife there. Like, you know, a lot of good things happened from me crashing an audition and just like putting myself out there.
Nice. And then I know, just because of my limited knowledge, that eventually even I think television shows up as some of the things that you were part of. And just speaking to people around where we'd be like, hey, did you hear so and so was on so and so or channel or was doing, are there some of those too that, and did you expect those? Did you try for those? Or I don't know, because now I know you're in a different role, I think, and you're back in the educational world, and yourself a professor or assistant professor of
Yep.
acting
Yep.
and theater. All
Yep.
right. So is there a middle time where you were on some of these TV shows that I've heard about, and how did that come to be?
Yeah. I mean, so after grad school, I moved to New York and just started hustling. Just was in the game, you know, signed with the agents and went out for auditions and um, you know, didn't know a lot about television and film, had a huge background in theater. So did theater. Like a lot of people say you move to New York as an actor to go away. So the usually you go to New York, you audition for, you know, a company, and then you leave for 2 months. So you rehearse for 4 weeks, and then you put up a show for 4 weeks, and then you come back to your apartment or your, you know, waiter job or you know. So I had the opportunity to really see a lot of the country, kind of 2 months at a time, sometimes 3 months at a time, doing plays. And in the mix, like television and film started to come in. I had done like independent stuff, small stuff. The first thing that, like, you know, it's like, hey, people could see this at a theater was Cadillac Records. And I had a scene with, you know, used to be known Most Def, but I had a scene with Most Def, and it was wild. It was wild. Just that experience of, you know, going there, like have my own little trailer, which they call a honey wagon, and like sitting in makeup and him talking about, oh, Gabby was just here. You know, Gabrielle Union, you know, Gabby.
Right.
And I was just like, man, I was pinching myself, but I was also very focused on the work. I was very, very focused on what I needed to do. And in the moment and in the scene, all of the work and training, like if you allow it, kind of comes out. You know, again, coming from that sports background, you know, if you trust in all the prep and all the reps that you do, when the time comes to perform, you have to be able to let that go and be in the moment. And so I was able to be in the moment, and a lot of television and film acting is really about that. So from there, you just kind of cobble things together. The next big thing I did was Walking Dead, and I got shot by Rick Grimes, and I played a character, not a zombie, and that was really cool. And you know, I was on Stranger Things. I was Barb's dad in Stranger Things. Last 2 years ago, I filmed a couple episodes of Chicago Fire. So yeah, like that stuff, and then other independent stuff, which is like on Amazon Prime and Netflix, and you know, it is again that broad skill set. Like I wanted to be able to do it all.
So
Yeah.
awesome. I'm thinking of you, and I'm reflecting back to being on the tennis court, down there at Truman Road, where our tennis courts were. We could walk to after every day at Lincoln. I'm like, man, I don't think playing tennis. I mean, that's what makes us wonder. Did you imagine that standing on those courts right then, like, you know, the way we were not thinking, like everybody else wasn't thinking about that, but you were, you know, and it's just so fantastic to be talking to you again about, you know, you worked with Most Def, you've done like some of the most unbelievably, I don't know, inspiring things. And I think if you're listening, Kansas City, that's part of the goal in doing this. Is I don't really know, when I'm talking to people, the level of involvement and where their story really went. And I'm just as astonished and amazed sometimes that we haven't heard about some of these stories from our own students who go to our own district. So that's fantastic, sir. I am so encouraged by your story. And I love the artistry of it too. I think that's really neat to know that you were seeking that. And I've heard from a lot of the people I've interviewed that you just keep pushing toward it and you feel closer and closer. And then, like you said, you kind of let yourself go and it's there, like, so given all that and your current, like, what are your next moves? What do you want to do next? You're currently teaching at a university. Is that right?
Yeah, so I'm an assistant professor of acting at the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, and I came here about 3 years ago, and it's a really wonderful place. I get to be part of like passing down what I've learned to the next generation of artists, and use all of the skills that I've kind of like cobbled on my journey, and be able to like talk to the students and be real about my own process. And yeah, there's all of those things, and all those highlights are great, and I'm extremely proud of them. It didn't come with it didn't come easy, and there was definitely a struggle, there was definitely a grind, there's definitely times where you think you're not going to make it, or you think whatever success means to you. um, so I was kind of doing the thing, continuing to work out of town, cobble things together, like television, film here, a play here. I started writing, and I had kids. So I've got a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old, and they are amazing. And when that happened, like the moment it happened, when our first daughter was born, I was like, I don't want to go out of town anymore as much.
Right.
Like I want to be home. I don't want to be absent from this amazing thing. And that actually made my work better, because it meant that the people that I'm working with, the projects that I'm doing, my whole heart is in that, because it takes sacrifice to be away from your kids and your family. And that's what usually it meant. So I wasn't just auditioning and doing roles just to do roles, or act just to do act. I had a purpose to the stories I was telling, to the people I was collaborating with. And that led to where I am now, which I had this model at Columbia College in Chicago and in my grad school, in that all of my teachers and professors worked. They continued to act, they continued to direct, they continued to write. And that is the reason that I'm here now, is that when I interviewed for this job, they're like, no, we want you to keep doing what you're doing. We want you to like keep being an artist, because that is the best way. Like, the world changes so fast that you have to be able to bring that knowledge that you get from set or from a rehearsal hall right into the students. And that's a strength of this program. There's a strength of my own training, but it's also like, I honestly wouldn't be happy if I were solely a professor. I need to have that ability to create and to tell stories. So right now, my next project is I'm writing a play about Shakespeare's clown. His name was Will Kemp, and I'm collaborating with people, and I'm also filming a documentary about it, and again, like, broadening my skill set to be the best artist I can be, and to tell stories, and also reach out to the next generation.
Wow, it's awesome, man. Thank you for being on this. Such an awesome guest, and so well timed and put together, as if maybe you are yourself from the world of theater, and noticeable and really cool. I hope people who are listening are taking all this in, and probably interested and curious to find out more about you and your career, and look up some of these cool things, rewind and hear some of those mentions that he told you of where you could find him in certain episodes. I'm going to probably do. I want to see this scene that I haven't seen. I want to go back and look in Stranger Things a little bit too. So final question, and you've been fantastic, is really some of the things you've already alluded to, but we could go out on, since you're wearing a Casey hat and I've got Casey in my back corner here.
Gotta rep it.
Right, special place. What do you think you would say to either the people in Kansas City or the student aged people or all the people in Kansas City that you think they need to hear right now in this amazing world we live in that is often extremely challenging to keep our heads up and be excited and push? But I think we would listen to any of your suggestions given what you have told us today about how much you have done so given that knowledge of what you know how to do yourself out there in the world, what do you think you would suggest to young people or not so young people who are listening today?
I would suggest a couple things. One is to notice your uniqueness. So, growing up is tough. Like it just is. And change is tough. And the things that you get made fun of, the things that you get teased about, the things that you get in trouble for school for, those are kind of your superpowers. That what makes you unique in this world is a strength. And I was always getting in trouble at school. Like I had my own desk in ISS, in school suspension, and all of those things, all of the antics, as the teachers would say, are what got me paid later in life. So there is a time and a place for things, but you do need to take stock, right? And know if you sprinkle a lot of hard work on those things you are naturally inclined to do, then something really beautiful can come of it. The other thing is that I am a big fan of build your own. And I know that we're in a world right now where there's a lot of talk about burning things down. And I think there's definitely some things that's like, nope, we're done. We got to move on from that. But the best way to move on from anything is to build your own. Doesn't mean you have to do it by yourself. You can collaborate. You can find other people. You can do things together. But if you see something that you're noticing that you don't like, even about yourself, build something new.
Fantastic. All right, Kansas City, you've had a treat today. This has been another wonderful episode of Life After. My name is Chris Odam. We've been joined today by Aaron Munoz, a wonderful actor and educator who I knew from my past when we both went to this school, Lincoln College Prep in Kansas City, Missouri. If you would be interested in looking into being on this show, please reach out to me. You can find me by email at codam@kcpublicschools.org, or just kind of Google me and you'll find some of these shows. So thanks again, Aaron. It's been a wonderful time with you today. Look forward to seeing you out there in the world some more. Have a great one, Kansas City.
Sounds good.